Hello, everyone, and this is Duana, and welcome back to Duana Intuitive Healing. And to all those who are new, welcome to my channel, or shall I say, our family. Okay, I definitely consider myself a starseed light worker. For all those who do not know, I am actually a healer. I am here to help and heal myself along with this universe, like many others, okay? And that's why I created this YouTube channel. It's definitely been a minute since I've been here. I was doing various projects. I was also doing a lot of healing work myself. So I did step away from doing healings for others. And I took that moment to focus more on my family through this shift past the 2/22/2022 portal. I believe that was probably the last video I actually created. Okay. So, fast forward, I have a very powerful message today that I would definitely like to share. I feel like everything happens for a reason in this lifetime, okay? And we will call this lifetime a school, okay? We're learning and we're growing in most magnificent, powerful, spiritual way that you can ever imagine in existence, right? And this is a special moment to be alive, y'all. And through this process, since I would say February, I have obtained a new grandbaby in the last 4 weeks, and I'm super grateful for that. I've had two graduates in the last 3 months, okay? Both of my teenage daughters graduated early. So I'm super excited about that. So shout out to Tiara and Trinity. And today I just want to share a powerful message and experience, y'all, that I experienced personally, okay? And when it happened to me, Spirit God said to one, this is a message that I need you to get out because a lot of people just don't know it, right? And if you checked out the title speaks about what they don't tell us about uterine fibroids, all right? And I've had my personal experience, and it almost claimed my life, okay? And this YouTube channel is really all about healing, okay? And what I'm going to speak about today is definitely working through that process of healing. And a lot of times we have ailments, especially as healers, okay? In our energy field, we hold energy from other people because we're constantly absorbing energy from other people, whether that's on purpose or just unknowingly, okay? As a healing energy worker, okay? So with that being said, me personally, okay, I had a procedure done because I was having a whole bunch of issues, okay, with my cycle. And this is to help people who are having this issue. I did an ablation so I can stop, the heavy cycling that I was experiencing. And I just want you guys to know, men, this is not just for women because you have mothers, sisters, cousins, wives, and daughters. And this is important for them to know as well. So if you're here for a reason at this moment, okay? So please continue to tune in. Do not disregard what I'm saying because you feel like I'm speaking about the female, okay? Because we all have the female and masculine aspects within ourselves, okay? And we're all here to bring that balance. So with that being said, I'm speaking about healing, all right? And through that process, I was like, oh, I'm just trying to heal myself so I can feel better. And this was probably about 2013. By this time, I've had 4 kids. My youngest is probably 4, okay? He's about 4. I'm going into 5. And my oldest at this point, she was an 18-year-old graduate, all right? So I knew I wouldn't be having any more kids. So I did this procedure, it's called ablation, and it was supposed to stop that heavy cycling that I was experiencing, and it cut it off completely. Mind you, in order to do this procedure, you have to have ultrasound tests ran, make sure you don't have uterine fibroids. So I'm saying that to say I did not have uterine fibroids at this time, okay? But I do believe the heavy cycling came about due to different birth control that I had been taking. And one of them was the shot. It was called the Depo shot. I had my first child at the age of 15. I'm not embarrassed to say it. Some people are, but I'm not. And at that time, I started the Depo shot, okay? And through that process, I noticed as I was having more children, the Depo shot was not in alignment with my body, okay, my hormones. So I started doing other things, like I think I did the IUD. The IUD caused so many problems for me. And then that's when I said, okay, well, let me do a procedure where I'm no longer having these cycles, right? So I said all that to say, when I did that, it shifted me into a space of fibroids, okay? And I had noticed about maybe 3 years or so after the fact that, I wasn't really cycling, but then I started spotting just a little bit. And through that process, I went to the doctor for my yearly checkup, and come to find out, I now have uterine fibroids. Okay, I did not have uterine fibroids before this procedure was done. That's very important to know. Okay, I definitely feel that that procedure caused my uterine fibroids, and I definitely feel that the birth control, okay, actually created the process in which my cycling was off, because I didn't have the issue before. And when I say my cycling was off, I was cycling every 13 to 15 days, and it was a very heavy flow. Sorry if that's too much information, but somebody needs to hear it, all right? Because a lot of women are going through what I experienced. A lot of women and teenage girls, okay? So it's important that we speak about this. This is not taboo. This is our health that we're speaking of. Our health is our wealth, which is our life source and force, okay? So with that being said, I'm talking about it. All right. So moving forward, I was just extremely uncomfortable. Then it got to a point to where the fibroids was growing. And you know how you sometimes see people in the store and you be like, oh, congratulations on your little bundle of joy, because they seem pregnant, and then they're like, I'm not pregnant. 9 times out of 10, that's because they have fibroids, okay? And those fibroids are blood, accumulation of blood tissue, okay? Turning into a mass. And you can usually have multiple fibroids, which is usually on the uterus, okay? But it can also form in the uterus, outside of the uterus. With that being said, I had multiple fibroids, and I was looking extremely pregnant, all right? Like exactly 2 years prior to the event that I'm going to tell you about. I was looking like I was about 5 months pregnant because of whatever reason, my fibroids were inflamed. And when you do dairy products, red meats, it also inflames it, greasy foods, things of that nature, it will inflame your fibroids. So I was trying to do more, I cut out the dairy. I was doing more fish, chicken, things of that nature. I had really cut off ribs, used to be my favorite, but me going through the spiritual process, I no longer crave those type of meats anyway, so it wasn't a big deal for me. And mind you, because I'm not going into menopause, I could not shrink my fibroids. And so that's important food for thought as well. If you're trying to do holistic things to remove the fibroids or get them to shrink, I'm here to tell you it might be extremely difficult if you're not going into premenopause, early menopause, and menopause. I'm 43, so clearly I wasn't going into menopause, okay? So they just continue to grow, no matter what I did. And it can get extremely uncomfortable, by the way, okay? So this was in 2022, where I was just really getting uncomfortable. I went to my doctor, and she was like, okay, Duana, right now they're smaller, but I think one was like a dime size, the other was like a quarter at this point when I had this conversation with her. And I think that was in like 2019. So they had grew significant amounts by 2020 in May, okay? So with that being said, fast forward 2 years later, 2022, you know, I was like, well, I don't want to be cut on, because she was like, I can have them removed before they get too big, and it would have been an invasive procedure. Invasive mean they won't have to do a huge line down my tummy, okay? They can go through the vaginal area to remove it. I'm sorry if that's too much information, but we need to know. It's no different than having sex ed, right, in the schools. They do that in middle school. So, anyway. Um, Okay, so with that being said, I was like, I don't want them cut on me, so I tried to do everything I could under the sun to shrink them or to get rid of them on my own. Okay, I'm like, being a holistic healer, I should be able to do this, right? Through divine source, like something amazing should happen, and they should be removed, because I have been working on my healing and cleansing my energy, and just making my body be the better version of itself. Okay, with that being said, so I was like, oh, I can definitely make this happen. But anywho, fast forward May 2020. Okay, there was a huge disruption, clearly, because all of a sudden I felt I wasn't feeling well. Okay, and the week before, I laid on my stomach. And when I laid on my stomach, I had to hurry up and get up because I felt extremely uncomfortable. All right. And through that space of me feeling so uncomfortable, I felt almost like nauseous. And then Spirit spoke to me and said, the one of these fibroids are going to be removed. And I was just like, what? So fast forward, the following week, I was listening to like different conference calls that I need to listen to, things of that nature. And it was just some spiritual stuff that, I have been involved in. So once that call was done, I was like, I'm not feeling well. And I'm sharing these symptoms because it's going to help somebody, it's going to save somebody's life, I assure you. Okay. It's like I'm not feeling well. It's just like really weird. I've never really had issues with blood pressure or anything. But that's what it kind of felt like. Like my blood pressure was off. I mean, it was just like in my headspace. And then it was like if I would drink water, no matter what I drank or ate at this moment, I just wasn't feeling good. It just felt like, it's like now at that moment, I had a sense of what a diabetic felt like, or if your blood sugar is too low or too high, or if you had blood pressure issues, if it was too high, too low. Like that's how I was feeling. So I said, okay, well, let me do a spiritual cleansing on myself really quick. So I laid back, set my crystals on me, on my chakra points, and which is the energy field of life, okay, embedded in you, inside your body. And you have chakra points all over your body, by the way. But I was working with my 7 chakras. And through that process, I went into a meditative state, okay? And in that moment, as I was coming out of that meditative state, I seen documents, okay? I seen like a bright gold light, and then I seen a whole bunch of like words. And then in spirit, I said, what is that? I asked God, what was that? Because mind you, I asked God and my angels, right? And my highest gods to cleanse me, okay? And cleanse me of these fibroids, because I felt like that was really causing me harm, okay? That's why I felt I wasn't feeling well. And then through that process, through that meditative state, I saw the gold light, and then I saw a lot of words. And I was like, what are these words? And then Spirit said documents. And I was like, okay. And then I woke up. So I woke up, I was like, I asked my husband, I said, can you take me to the water? I wanted to go to the water. So before I did that, I did I listened to another mantra to cleanse energy and to remove any people sending me the evil eye, right? To just remove any curses that somebody was trying to send my way. And when I did that, I felt good about it. And my husband eventually took me to the water, okay? Because there's a lake out here where they go skiing, boating, and all kind of stuff. And mind you, I had been shifted to a new city, okay, and I had been here 2 weeks, all right, and it was also very unexpected, and because my husband had lost his job, like a month before, so we were relocating. Um, so I no longer had my health insurance, okay, and I've had health insurance for years, and at this point now I no longer have health insurance. So I was just like, all right, I'm making the best of the situation, okay? So he was like, yeah, I'll take you to the water. We get to the water. I was feeling good about the sun and everything hitting me, feeling rejuvenated. Mind you, this is May 31st. What is that Labor Day or Memorial Day? I always get them confused. Sorry. It might be, I don't know. My husband's definitely gonna clown me for this, but I don't care. Whatever day falls May 31st, whatever holiday that was, okay? You get the gist of it. So we came back. His aunt and mother had invited us to eat, so we went there and ate. And then, so I stayed at the water for about about an hour or so, okay. And then I come back to eat, and then when I come back to eat, it was like shrimp, and then it was red meat. It was a steak. She cooked the steak. It was good, by the way. I hadn't really been doing red meat, but my iron was kind of low. I felt kind of tired, so I was like, I guess I can do a little red meat. And the shrimp was extremely rich because she had put like some type of buttery sauce on it. It was really good though. And we ate, sat there for 40 minutes or so after we ate, came back home, all right. And when I come back home, I'm like, all right, I was like, let me do some exercises, right? And I was trying to do some stomach exercises, just, you know, like squat, stuff like that. Nothing major. Just turning to the side like this, nothing extreme. And then all of a sudden, I started cramping, okay? And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'm just not feeling good, so, or maybe I'm doing too much, okay? So I told my husband, I'm gonna go sit down. So I came to sit on my bed, all right, the bed right behind me, come to sit on the bed, and all of a sudden, I had a huge shock, okay, in my stomach. And if you've ever had a baby, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your stomach contracts, okay? And it was like my whole stomach was contracting, all right? I never felt anything like it before in my whole entire life, all right? And I'm like, I am in a lot of pain. So then my husband he saw me, he was like, are you all right? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I could barely talk and I couldn't even move. I was just like frozen. It felt like I was just frozen in time, okay? And then he was like, well, do you want to go to the hospital? And at this point, I'm like, yes, because I was in so much pain. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it's my gallbladder, right? I don't know what that feels like. But like, I believe 2 weeks before, I spoke to this woman. She was telling me about how she had gallbladder surgery when I went to go get my nails done. So I was like, well, I don't want to ignore this, right? Just in case that's what it is. I don't want to, wait too long and then regret it later. So he was like, you want me to drive you or call the ambulance? I was in so much pain, I couldn't even move. I was like, call the ambulance. So the ambulance, they make it, the meds get in, they come inside, they see me stretched out on the bed in a lot of pain. At this point, I was like, my blood, like my body, okay? It was like cold but hot. And I felt I felt kind of sweaty. It was kind of weird, okay? Mind you, it wasn't natural. So the man's like, oh, well, you're not running a fever, and you seem fine. And my mother-in-law just happened to come over, and she was like, oh, I could be constipated, because she worked as a certified nursing assistant or medical assistant. So she would see this all the time where she worked. So she just assumed I was constipated. And mind you, okay, the meds went along with it. They were like, oh, well, since you don't seem feverish and you're not sweating, but I had like a cold, like sweaty pasty like feeling, okay, to my skin. And they got me to sign documents stating that I didn't want to go, or I was agreeing not to go. And they told me to treat myself for constipation. And then they left. Okay. So I did exactly what they said. Uh, I didn't really believe that that was what was going on, but sometimes you just be like, you just kind of go with it, okay? And I'm sending this message to let you know, do not just go with it, okay? Nobody knows your body like you know your body. And if you think that something's going on with you, please go to the emergency room, okay? Go to the hospital. I don't care if you don't have insurance. Go to the hospital, all right? So I'm like, okay, well, let me treat myself for constipation. About 30 minutes later, maybe 20 minutes, okay, I was like, oh gosh, now I have to go to the restroom, okay? So I'm like, okay, well, finally, I'm going to feel better, right? Because I lay down, just hoping I can like go to sleep. You know how you feel so bad, you just hope that you can sleep it off because there's nothing else you can do? Okay, that's where I was. So about 20-30 minutes passed. I was on my way to the restroom, okay? I go to the restroom, and all of a sudden, not only is it coming from my bottom, okay, but it's coming out of my mouth, okay? I'm like vomiting, like profusely, okay? And I'm like, oh my God, I literally feel like I'm dying, okay? So I finally muster up the strength to, get myself together, to come back to the bed to lay down. And on my way to the bed, I felt like I was about to pass out. So, I made it to the bed, lay down, and then about probably another 20 minutes or so, I feel horrible. And mind you, I was still vomiting, okay, at this time from the bed. My husband had got a trash can at this point, and I'm just laying on the side of the bed vomiting. So, and I'm sharing these symptoms for people who experience this and you just have no idea what it is, okay? I'm sharing these symptoms with you so like, do not take it lightly. So, I'm vomiting and I'm just so uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, I had felt like I had felt earlier today when I decided to do the meditation on myself and do the cleansing. All of a sudden, like, my head felt weird, okay? And through the process of my head feeling weird, then I was like cold and hot, cold and hot. So I was sweating, but then I was cold. So I would take the covers off and then I had to put them back on, right? And all this happened really fast, okay? It do not take long when you're going through this process, okay? So I'm like, I feel horrible. And I tell my husband, well, you know what? I believe it's because I'm dehydrated. All right, because I've taken all this medicine and now I got the runs. I didn't take a lot, but I took enough, right, to loosen my bowels. So I'm like, can you please give me some Pedialyte? Because I knew we had some downstairs. He said, okay, do not move. He said, do not try to get out the bed because he remembered me almost passing out previously. And he saw like I was just a mess, okay? Bottom line, I was just a mess. So I was like, okay, I won't. As soon as he get out the bed and go downstairs, guess who had to use the restroom again? Me. All right. So I get out the bed. The struggle was definitely real, okay? Get out the bed. And mind you, I'm like sweating and stuff. I don't have like a whole bunch of clothes on. I barely have anything on because I feel so bad, right? So I get out the bed. As soon as I make it to the restroom door, I pass out. I fall, okay? My daughter heard me fall, and so did my husband. And at this time, my daughter, the 18-year-old, she's looking out the window and she see another ambulance next door. So she asked my husband, did he call another ambulance? Mind you, he's coming to see what was that loud noise. Okay, I passed out on the floor. He tell my daughter to watch over me. I come to, all right. I would save you some of the details, okay? But come to, My husband runs to get the ambulance next door because it's actually for the one of our neighbors who are just kind of like under the influence and probably suffering from alcohol poisoning. So they just kind of passed out or whatever. Um, Praise God, okay, because that ambulance saved my life since the first ambulance left me here to die. Seriously, to die. So when the other medics come, they're just like taking their time, trying to figure out what to do, what's going on with me. Mind you, I'm not even dressed, okay? And I'm just in the restroom trying to make everything better. Like cleaning myself off from vomiting and doing this and doing that. It's embarrassing and horrible, and I'm not going to share all the details, okay? But mind you, my husband's just like, oh my God, like, he needs to get me dressed, and the minute they needed to take me, but I couldn't walk. Every single time I tried to, because I still had to use the restroom, okay? And every time I had tried to use the restroom, I would pass out. So come to find out, a nurse later told me whenever you're trying to use the restroom, you actually, and when I say use the restroom, I mean make a bowel movement, you lose oxygen to your brain, okay? And when you lose oxygen to your brain, you pass out. And come to find out, I was losing oxygen to my brain by trying to make the bowel movement due to my oxygen levels already being low. At this time, I had no idea that my blood pressure had dropped to 73 over 30, okay? And that's why I kept passing out, because I wasn't receiving enough oxygen to my brain because of the blood flow, okay? My blood wasn't receiving oxygen like it should be in a normal case. So, and I'm telling y'all all of this so you know not to experience this yourself, okay? So finally get me dressed, put me in a chair. They carry me in the chair down the stairs, get in the ambulance, all right? I get in the ambulance. Oh my God. These people, it was three altogether. No, it was four altogether. Three of them was in training. They were like students, medic students. And I guess one was like the superior one. So they were trying to find a vein to like feed me I guess IV fluids because I was so dehydrated. Couldn't find a vein. All right. So they was doing this and they was doing that to try to make it happen. It didn't happen. So they gave me a Zofran shot, okay, to stop the vomiting. When they did that, that immediately locked everything in my stomach, my bowels, everything. And all of a sudden, I had a horrendous cramp all over again, like I did initially, okay, when I called the ambulance the first time. Zofran is to stop nausea, okay, and vomiting, for anyone who don't know. A lot of women receive it when they're pregnant. They'll take Zofran because of the early morning sickness, okay? So I knew what Zofran was. I did not think that it was going to do this to my body when they gave me the shot, all right? So I don't know if it's because of the dosage they gave me or what, but it was horrendous and it was horrible, y'all. If I moved, okay, that entire cramp would come over. That contraction would come over my entire stomach. I was like screaming out loud in pure agony. Like I didn't even experience this, and I had 4 kids, y'all, and I had them naturally. As like 2 of them were induced. That's even more pain when you're induced, okay? And I've never experienced anything like it before in my life. So I finally get to the hospital. Whether I talk, laugh, cry, try to fall asleep, okay, the contraction, the cramp comes back. It was horrible. So I'm at the hospital. They take me into the emergency room. I thought I would have to sit there forever, but I didn't. I think I was just out in the waiting room for like 3 minutes, and then they called me to do the assessment. And they did a CAT scan. When they did the CAT scan, they saw that I had internal bleeding in my stomach, all right? And initially, the nurse, she didn't tell me this. She was just like, Well, we got the results back, and at this moment, I'm still thinking it's a gallbladder issue, right? And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be cut on. I just hope that they can give me some medicine, right, to make me feel better. So she was like, we're going to give you an antibiotics. So I was like, oh, great. They're giving me antibiotics. This is going to resolve the issue, right? Like, I'm going to feel better and I can go home on the antibiotics. She was like, the results are in, but I can't share with you. The doctor's going to come in and tell you everything, because I'm like expressing to her, oh, well, great. That means I won't get cut on. And I'm just so happy, right? So the doctor come in and tell me that I had internal bleeding in my stomach. Okay. So I'm just like, wow. And they tell me that one of my uterine fibroids busted. And the blood vessel that bust was like, it was like the size of my fingernail, like the very end of my fingernail. Okay. It was that small. And it ruptured, and it caused over a liter and a half of blood to be sitting in my stomach. Okay. And I have no idea how long this had been going on, but it clearly had been going on for at least part of the earlier part of the day when I started feeling bad. But I believe I had kind of started been feeling like that for a couple of days, but I'm just not sure. Or maybe the week before when I laid on my stomach and I wasn't feeling good after that. So I was just like, wow, like, mind you, every human being have is it 5 or 4? 5 liters, I believe. 5 liters of blood in their body. Okay. So I had over a liter and a half sitting in my stomach. And that was another reason my blood pressure had dropped so low and I was passing out, because I didn't have the correct blood flow going through my bloodstream. So with that being said, one of the first signs of internal bleeding is vomiting and passing out and horrendous cramps in your stomach. I didn't know that. I just had no idea. I could never imagine that I was experiencing internal bleeding. Anyway, with that being said, so the nurse, she was so sweet. She prayed with me and my husband. At this point, I have no insurance. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Because this is definitely a life and death situation. And then they tell me I have to have emergency surgery because I have to have a hysterectomy. They had to remove my uterus. The last thing I would ever want on the face of this earth is to be cut and my body parts to be removed, right? So she was like, I have to give you a blood transfusion. Okay. She was so sweet. Y'all, the angels was with me through this process. This is another reason I am sharing this story and this testimony, because God was with me. My angels was with me. My divine guides were with me. Okay. Ancestors, every spiritual being you can think of was with me to help me save my life. Okay. Like, I am so serious, y'all. Like, she prayed with myself and my husband. And to just know that there is a sense of humanity, right, in people. And it's not just about their job. It's about real people and them doing real things to save people's lives. That was amazing for me. And that touched me. So I just wanted to share that. She gave me the blood transfusion. She was like, I have 20 minutes to do this because you're going to have to get picked up by a helicopter. And we're going to have to bring you to another hospital. And I'm like, oh my, am I going to survive this? And the whole time, I'm just thinking about all the pain that I'm in. They gave me morphine. Okay. It was not working. The morphine was not working. She gave me the blood transfusion. And then she said, I got some bad news. She said, due to the winds, the helicopter is not going to be able to make it. They're going to have to take you in the ambulance. And I'm just like, oh my God, I am in so much pain. How long do I have to endure this pain? It was horrible. So anyway, 5 minutes later, she came back and she said, guess what? I got great news. The helicopter is on its way. I was like, God is good. Okay. God is good. So, the helicopter meds come. They give me fentanyl. Mind you, fentanyl is definitely taking a lot of lives because people are mixing fentanyl with illegal, illicit drugs like heroin and cocaine, right? So when they said fentanyl, but I thought about it. I am definitely in the hospital where these people, what that's their job to make sure that I'm feeling good, I'm safe, I'm not in pain. So when they said fentanyl, I thought about it, but then I was like, at this point, I'm in so much pain, it doesn't even matter because I feel like the pain is going to kill me. Okay, so they give me the fentanyl, and guess what? It relieves my pain. Put me on a helicopter. Thing is, with the fentanyl, they have to give you fentanyl every 30 minutes. Okay, so they have to give it to you way more often than they would have to, I guess, the morphine. Um, but I was okay with it because I was feeling better. It was like God had definitely answered my prayers. Okay, so the helicopter ride wasn't that long. Get off the helicopter. They give me some more fentanyl. Praise God. And then at this point, they're just like prepping me, to see the doctor. So the doctor comes to me and he's like, um, yeah, it looks like I have to get in there, clean the blood, and I need to look at the rest of your organs. Okay. So if I have to, I'm going to take what I need to take besides the uterus. At this point, I'm just thinking they're going to take my uterus, right? But then the doctor's like, I might take other things. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm going to be honest. I was like, God, why? Why? I'm like, you gave me these body parts. Clearly, I need them. So why? All right. This was an emotional thing for me. All right. And I'm not saying like I'm the only one endure this. I'm not. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this video because I'm not the only one that has endured this. And nobody wants their body parts taken from them and nobody wants to be cut on, honestly. So it gets to a point where you're like, it's life or death. So I just got to do what I got to do and just accept it. All right. So that's why I was like, I'm just going to accept it. It is what it is. But he's like, I have to get in. I have to clean all the blood because he told me that's why I was in so much pain because the blood was touching organs and things that blood normally doesn't touch. And I wasn't even thinking like that. Like, I was just thinking we have blood just going all throughout our body. So, it didn't matter. But that's not the case. When blood touch things that it's not supposed to touch, it caused a lot of pain. And I didn't know that. But anyway. So, they prepped me for surgery. And I can say one of the most humbling things that he said to me was, I know it's scary. And he said, I'm going to treat you like I would treat my own wife if I was having surgery on her. And that gave me a lot of comfort. And then I was just kind of like, well, do he love his wife? Because if you're treating me like you treat your wife, I just want to make sure you love your wife, right? I mean, I can laugh about it now, but anyway. So, I'm just like, oh, okay, I trust you. And I trust nobody to like cut on me. But at that point, I had no choice. So I'm just like, okay, I trust you. And through that process of trust, you just kind of have to give it to God. So that's why I was like, I'm just going to give it to God because God knows better than me. And I was like, all of a sudden I had to sign forms. And I was like, oh, these are the forms that I saw in my meditation, in my vision when I was healing my body. Because I saw a whole bunch of little small words and just papers. And I was like, that is God. Like, once again, reassuring me everything is going to be okay. I've already shown you this in the vision. So just trust in me and trust the process and follow the flow. That gave me a lot of comfort, okay? And in that space of comfort, I was able to be relaxed, and I became okay with what had to be done. Okay. So I go through the surgery. The surgery went well. Um, at this point, I'm out. I was in a lot of pain. Okay. And the doctor told me that I would be in a lot of pain just because of the blood touching other places. I just thought it was just from me being cut on, but he was like, the pain level would be way worse because of the blood. So I had 2 more blood transfusions right after I came out of surgery because my blood was so low. And mind you, that made sense as to why I was so tired as well before the surgery. Um, I stayed in the hospital for 5 days. Um, and this was June 1st when I actually had the surgery because all this happened late May 31st, like, throughout the night. But I just really, 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 really want to say, you know your body more than anybody else can ever fathom knowing your body. So I'm saying that to say, listen to your body. And I'm also saying that to say, if a medic decides to leave you, but you feel like you need to go to the hospital, please go to the hospital. And I'm also sharing this story to say that, things happen for a reason, okay? And I experienced that for a reason. And I said, I'm not going to allow that experience, right, to not mean anything and not matter because I almost died. And I want people to know the seriousness of uterine fibroids, okay? No matter how old or young you are, if you have them, get checked, stay on top of it, and if they need to be removed, okay? And I would say they need to be removed. Please get them removed. Because I would have never imagined, because my doctor didn't even tell me that a blood vessel can bust in my stomach, okay, and almost cost me my life, all right? And it's no different than women having babies shortly after they pass away because the doctor's not taking them seriously when they say they're in pain, all right? They usually accumulate some type of blood clot, and it causes stroke, heart attack. And I'm just saying, y'all, this is so prevalent and important. And they say, the brown skinned women are the ones that suffer from it. But I'm going to say lighter, fair skin, Caucasian, Vietnamese, whatever, Chinese, it doesn't matter. Okay? We all can get uterine fibroids at the end of the day. We all can. And our lives are being affected by this stuff, guys. All right? So moving forward, every generation to follow, just think about birth control methods, what you're doing, what you're putting in your body, and the long-term effects. Because I'm going to be honest, when I had my child at 15, I didn't see myself sitting here in this seat at 43 doing a YouTube channel speaking about how uterine fibroids almost cost me my life. And I definitely feel like it's from the things that I did early on in my life, right? Because I felt like I was protecting what I needed to protect in that moment. In hindsight, they're not and mind you, and I also got my tubes tied, and that caused problems. That caused problems. So in hindsight, do your research when you want to get your tubes tied. Do your research when you want to get on birth control. Do your research when you do these procedures to stop your cycles because they're heavy. Like, just know what you're doing. But I do have a friend. She's a doctorate in theology, and she have 2 more doctors in something else. I can't remember. But she said that there's doctors in, I believe, California that actually assist you with uterine fibroids, and they actually have a method to shrink them. I was like, I wish I would have known that, right? Before I experienced all of this, but I found out after the fact. So I want to help people, and I don't want you to find out after the fact. I want you to find out before the fact. Okay. Um, I'm definitely going to be doing more videos because I have more to say, and I definitely want to do what I can to help and heal everybody. I do healing sections for chakra cleansings, inner child healing. I also deal with crystals, and I do card readings. Okay. I had definitely took a break from those things when it comes to, you know, other people. But I am gonna get back, you know, to doing those things again because I am healthier, and I've been through my healing process. It's been 3 months, so I'm feeling much better now. So I will be doing more YouTube videos as well, because definitely life had gotten in the way. I ended up having my daughter. She was pregnant, and I just had to take time out for my family, okay, and me, and focus on my family. But now I'm back because my channel is not monetized. All right, I do this out the love and kindness of my heart, because I want to see people succeed. I want to see people healed. I want to see collectively our universe doing better and feeling better. Okay, and not through ways of manipulation. So, with that being said, I just pray everybody blessings overflow today in ways that you cannot imagine. And every day is a magical day. Thank you so much for tuning into the One Intuitive Healing. Have a blessed day.